these pictures. We've seen the traditional classroom, the teacher at the front, students sitting in the back, but as you know, times are changing. So the first shift is when teachers started using various craft items in order to have their students create different activities that they were doing. But as we know, there's been a huge shift in education, and now we're working on STEM and makerspace. But the challenge that we were facing was we had the old classroom, we had the great lessons, how were we going to incorporate it? So now our classrooms are a little bit updated. We've got green screens, we got all sorts of creative items and a ton of robotic things that you've been learning about this week. So my job was to make sure that I found a way to collaborate with our classroom teachers and to take what they've already done and update them into where we want them to go. So this was met with a little bit of resistance, as those of you in education for a while may have experienced, but we kept pushing through, and we were able to find a way to empower each other to build on the knowledge of each other. So the first thing I did was I created a makerspace in our Google Drive where the lessons are available for everybody in the school to view. The next thing I did was I took lessons that they're already using and I added a few pieces. You'll see that I added computer science standards, I added more materials, things that I was in charge of, things the teachers were in charge of, and I added some challenging questions. So I'm still taking what they've already been doing, and now I'm adding a little bit more to it. My first example is after we read Katie and the Big Snow, where we're talking about directions. Instead of using different directions in different worksheets, we went ahead and we used spheros. The coding was already uploaded into the iPads for them, and the students had to figure out what to do with it. We used the sentence strips as roads, so the first road was to go from the straight line. Once they mastered that, they then had to figure out how to turn. Finally, we took that step, we added one more layer, and now we built a community. So each one of those pink sheets, has a community, part of the community, and they had to figure out how to drive the sphero to get to that part of the community. My next example is a math worksheet, typical that we've seen for years and years and years. But we know kindergartners want to get their hands on things. So I used manipulatives, and what they needed to do was take those and create number sentences. You can see made of crayons, sticks, and different buttons and beads and stars. Some bottle caps in there too. They then took a picture and they uploaded it to our Smart Learning Suite online, where it was projected up in front of the room. The students could see what the other students have used in order to give them different examples. My final example was the water cycle, which you've been talking about forever, and this was a fabulous worksheet that was used where students made construction paper, glued it on, and spun and learned it. But that wasn't enough. We wanted a little bit more, so we used Scratch Junior, and the students had to make Scratch Junior videos to show what they learned about the water cycle. And the biggest thing you can do is change your mindset. Thank you. Okay. Hi everybody, my name is Julie Kuzma. I'm an instructional facilitator of technology at Loudoun County. What I'm about to show you was a one-period lesson, was all based on creative coding. So I apologize if I talk a little fast, but I want to get the other people in. Our whole lesson was our school wanted to move forward with coding. They had dabbled a little bit in it and wanted to do a little bit more in it. Our students are very familiar with locating videos and watching videos, but we wanted more information from them than just the videos. The student wanted more. So what we've done is the quizzes, and as we've all talked already before, that is a typical path. You watch the videos, you take the quizzes. But that was not enough for what our students wanted. Our students wanted more, they're ready for more. And in our makerspace room, they were already doing more, so we gave them more. So what my first grade teacher did was she created this template. So over on the left side of your screen, you'll see the template that was created, placed into the students' assignments. That's what they had to start with. So these are 6, 7 years old, so we wanted to make sure they had a beginning place to go, and they can take it from there. They had certain criteria that they had to add into it. You see the students on the right are choosing just some blocks that they do. And what's great about creative coding is that it only gives you a certain amount of blocks. If I was to look at other programs, it gives you so many options, and for a young student learning how to code, that can be overwhelming. This takes that overwhelming piece out of it. So from that, they would start working. What's great about this is that during this course, this class, this teacher was pulled for an IEP meeting. And I'm sure we've all been there. I'm ready to go. I'm going to teach the lesson, and a sub came in to cover. It was a floating sub, but that did not make a difference because the activity the students were doing, they were already well versed. They already understood the coding, and they were handling it just fine. And in this moment, the student was teaching the substitute how to do the coding at 6 years old. As we go on, because of this, because of the coding, the students
students are all handling the basic concept of what they need to do, but as we know, everyone likes different things. So they all chose the different backgrounds that mean something to them. So though I'm giving them exactly what I want them to do, the students are all reaching the goal, they're still personalizing it to meet the needs of what they want it to look like. This is just a quick example, and this first grader is learning that if you don't have any bones, you could not exercise. This is at the end of his work, and this child was so excited because when he hit play 1,000 times, everybody laughed at him all the time. So there was so much reward for him. But they created this at 6 years old. This is their first step in coding, and this is what they created. It was amazing for them. Okay, and to wrap up, I apologize for talking quickly, is that it does show up in your grade books. The teacher was able to go back, pull up, and see exactly what the students were doing to evaluate what they were doing on so much more than just the place.